Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we try to jazz up our mornings with headlines coming from our city, our state, our country, along with information and knowledge that we share with one another about Puerto Vallarta with one purpose: to have a more meaningful, more immersive life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. That's what we do Monday through Saturdays here at Facebook. Today is Thursday, September 16th. Today is Mexican Independence Day. And I am so very happy to be here with all of you. And if there is anybody that is joining us for the first time, you can let us know that you are new by writing the word new in your comments. Nothing bad will happen. We'll simply welcome you to our broadcast. And if there is something very important or particular that you wish to bring up so that we can react to, all you have to do is add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment, and we'll be very, very happy to address it either during the broadcast or afterwards. My ear is itchy. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. So Insomnia took out the best of me last night. I've been up since 4:15 in the morning because I couldn't go back to sleep. So what did I do? I just got up and I pretended to clean, and I prepared the broadcast for today. So we are going to have a lovely sleep-deprived broadcast today. We're going to start with our news, as always. Then we're going to follow with the weather forecast. And then we'll take a look at some of the wonderful comments that you share with us every morning. So let us dive into the news, but not before I give you a small disclaimer. When it comes to the news, September 16, December 25th, and January 1st have to be the 3 days of the year in which you cannot expect a lot of meaty content from news outlets. Oh, and then there's, of course, Dia de los Inocentes, which is December 28th, which is Mexico's April Fool's equivalent. And that is a day in which half the headlines are fake news designed to humor readers. So in the case of the Mexican independence, the focus today, as far as the news are concerned, tends to be on one of two things. Number one, what they wore, and number two, what they said. Let's take a look. Okay, in the what they were category, of course you can expect blow-by-blow commentary of what the dignitaries were. In this case, I found this very complete description of the dress worn by Andrés Manuel López Obrador's wife, Beatriz Gutiérrez Müller, to last night's ceremony. As you know, it is traditional that our president or the governors or the mayors celebrate the cry, or el grito, the cry for independence. And this takes place on September 15 at 11 p.m. And last night's national ceremony was broadcast live through social media and local TV networks. There was also a live broadcast of Jalisco's Independence Day celebration and one for Puerto Vallarta's as well. You can find them all on Facebook today if you like. So if you want to know the blow-by-blow of what Madam President, or the president's wife, she's actually not, she doesn't have an official title, yes, in Mexico. If you want to know what she wore, all you have to do is read this particular article. And then, of course, this is a good time to introduce the word of the day. And the word of the day is arenga. An arenga, or in English, harangue, by definition, is a lengthy, solemn, or aggressive political or military speech with the purpose of getting people all riled up or worked up. Now, in the context of El Grito, or the Mexican independence ceremony, it usually goes like this. The president or governor or mayor or even ambassador, as we'll see in a minute, begins by saying Mexicanos, or Mexicans, and then they declare a series of vivas, which means long live, and these vivas are the arengas. So first they mention the traditional heroes, which correspond to the independence heroes. For example, the president might start by saying, Mexicanos, vivan los héroes que nos dieron patria y libertad. Long live the heroes that gave us our country and liberty. And then everybody answers, viva. And then the president might say, Viva Hidalgo, and then everybody says, Viva, and so forth and so on. So usually it's kind of like a roll call of all the important Mexican heroes, like Hidalgo and Allende and Morelos, which you know as local streets. Every city in Mexico has streets called Hidalgo, Allende, Morelos, and so forth and so on. And then the ceremony ends with 3 vivas for Mexico. And the president waves the flag, and then there's a Mexican anthem. But somewhere between the traditional arengas and the 3 final ones, each personality throws in their own personal choices, and this is what the papers comment on this morning. How many vivas they threw into the mix. And these extra vivas often have to do with the political climate or beliefs of the particular dignitary. For example, our president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, according to the papers, gave a total of 20 arengas, including one for pre-Hispanic cultures, one for honesty, and one for anonymous heroes. In the state of Yucatan, Governor Mauricio Vila Dosal had arengas for medical personnel and for the unity of the people in his state against adversity. Governor Alfaro, of course, as is customary, added a bunch of vivas to heroes from our own state that, unless you are truly well-versed in Mexican history, you'd never know who he's talking about. For example, he mentions Rita Pérez de Moreno, and he mentions all the women that were imprisoned in Pénjamo, and Guadalupe Victoria and Rafaela Lopez and so forth and so on. Gertrudis Bocanegra, it's like you really have to go into Wikipedia to find out who these people are being cheered off, who these people are. And then, of course, there was the lovely Isabel Arvide. God bless Isabel Arvide. Isabel Arvide is Mexico's consular agent or consul in Turkey. And in her ceremony, she decided to throw in a viva that got booed, because people, as I said, somebody might say Viva Mexico and people answer Viva. But if people don't seem to approve of whoever you are throwing in the mix, people will boo. So this is what happened when the lovely Isabel Arvide, Mexico's consul in Turkey, decided to throw in a viva for the Mexican president, for Andrés Manuel López Obrador.
¡Viva Miguel Hidalgo! ¡Viva! ¡Viva la justicia! ¡Viva! ¡Viva la libertad! ¡Viva! ¡Viva López Obrador!
So as soon as she said the name of the president, everybody went boo. We're not for the president. We're not against the president. I'm just telling it like it is. And there's something to be said about how passionate these people get when they're crying their arengas. They get like really desperate, like "Viva!" Like they really have to go to the bathroom. And I'm being sarcastic, but I just want to give you a sense as to what the whole ceremony is about. And of course, after all the vivas are done, whoever is running the ceremony waves the flag, and then there's the national anthem, and then of course it's time to go eat and celebrate whatever is available. Now, Mexico's official YouTube page has a replay of last night's ceremony and will most likely broadcast. Oh, in fact, it's already live. It'll broadcast today's military parade, which will begin at 11 o'clock in the morning in case you want to watch this. Now, how expensive was it to dine out and celebrate Mexican independence last night? Well, as much as 2,000 pesos per person, according to this article published by Vallarta Opina. But this may have less to do with the celebration than you think, because apparently many of the products required to prepare traditional dishes, which also are part of what is considered the canasta básica, or basic food items in a Mexican pantry, have increased in price lately due to inflation. We are talking about everything from limes to tomatoes to onions, avocados, fries, and even toilet paper. So do keep this in mind if you visit your favorite restaurants and notice that prices are going up lately. This is not necessarily related to the independence ceremony or celebration itself. It's just that things are getting more expensive. Now, as long as we're talking about food and Mexican independence and all that stuff, I would really, really like to send out a shout out to one of my favorite local traditional Mexican restaurants here in Puerto Vallarta, and that is Antojeria La Loteria. They specialized in traditional Mexican dishes such as enchiladas and pozoles. They serve them to go, and they feature two locations, one here in Versalles and the other one in Los Sauces. But apparently, yesterday they had so many requests for food that they just could not keep up with the demand. And they posted this in their Facebook page sometime in the middle of the night. And it caught my attention. And I really want to translate this to you because I think you should know. La Loteria Antojeria posted, "Good evening." At the time of this publication, they published 8 hours ago, so it must have been like around 4 o'clock in the morning. In name of all of us that are part of La Loteria Antojeria, we want to thank each and every one of our clients for giving us the opportunity to serve you every single day, including today. And we also want to offer or beg for a total and honest apology for all the inconveniences that might have arisen in our two branches, because in this very special day, the demand for food outweighed us and we could not deliver as we would have liked to all of our clients. Again, we thank you for choosing us, and we assure you that we will commit ourselves to improve our service every single day. Now, how often is it that we get a local restaurant or a service provider of any kind that apologizes for not being good enough? I thought that was so absolutely wonderful, and I immediately wrote a comment and I said, if you ran out, it's because your product is amazing. So that is my very shameless plug for Antojeria La Loteria. If you haven't tried this particular restaurant, I strongly recommend it. I will leave their Facebook page in the show notes so that you can get to know them. Their pozole is to die for. Now, let's turn over to the weather just to see what we can expect for the remainder of the week. You are a fracking weakling, says our weather. So you've got that going for you, which is nice. Whatever. Snarky Carrot weather tells us that it is 27 degrees, feels like 34. Humidity is at 100%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 81. So it's hot and humid. Yesterday I went walking in the city because I had to run some errands. What a big mistake that was. By the time I came home, I was dying of exhaustion because of the heat. Our weather forecast for today shows that it's going to rain in the evening with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 24. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll have rain starting in the afternoon at a high temperature of 32, low temperature of 24. Saturday, we will have rain and humidity throughout the day, high temperature of 30 and low temperature of 22. So as you can see, we are in the middle of the dog days of summer here in Puerto Vallarta. Now, I'd like to acquaint you with a Mexican dish that you may or may not know of, and there's a reason why we're doing this today, and I'll explain myself in a second. And this dish is molletes. This is one of Mexico's most popular breakfasts, particularly in Mexico City. A mollete, in case you haven't tried one, is an open-faced sandwich that is made with bolillos, which are bread that you can get at any supermarket. Bolillos are sliced lengthwise, partially hollowed, and then they're filled with refried beans and topped with cheese and slices of jalapeno or serrano peppers. And they are then grilled in an oven until the cheese melts. And that is what a traditional mollete is. They can also frequently be enhanced by adding sliced or chopped items such as ham, chorizo, bacon, or mushrooms. Now, why are we talking about molletes today? Well, first of all, know that there are a couple of restaurants in town where you can find them and try them. I believe Michael has them in his menu at Poblanos, Michael Buford. But it also happens that, unfortunately, twice I've seen posts on your conversation, on your comments from this particular location called Los Molletes del Día, which I know is here in Versalles, but I don't know the restaurant. But apparently our very good friend Wolfgang Schurman thinks it's kosher to just promote your restaurant. Clearly, Wolfgang has not read our frequently asked questions document where you can find out that we here at Coffee and Headlines frown on self-promotion. So twice I've had to delete these comments. So please keep this in mind, dear friends. You know, we're trying to keep this environment advertiser free to the best of our ability. So kindly, instead of just posting your own venues on the comments, which I will delete every single time, and eventually this will get you banned. You know, just get in touch with us and let us know that you would like to find out ways in which your venue can be mentioned, or, you know, find a third party, another person that was willing to recommend your restaurant or your service or your product. But every time we run into these instances in which somebody decides to promote himself or herself or their own businesses, these comments will be deleted. Yesterday, we mentioned that Google Arts and Culture has developed an extensive section on Mexican cuisine, and later in the day, we learned that Cultura Jalisco, our state's Department of Culture, has also partnered with a company to provide important culture-related content within Google's project. And just as in the case of Mexican cuisine, we find out that Cultura Jalisco's section in Google's Arts and Culture is offered in English and Spanish. The introduction is written in both languages, and presently there are 8 stories available, one having to do with the flavors of Jalisco, beverages born in Jalisco, get to know the sweet side of Jalisco, and mariachi, Mexico's legacy for mankind, and so forth and so on. So it is good to know that our state's cultural department is partnering with Google to provide this information about our state. Speaking of culture, I'm thrilled to have learned yesterday that the Metropolitan Opera is resuming their live broadcasts this fall. These are amazing opportunities to enjoy the Metropolitan Opera Company's Saturday performances live from the comfort of movie theaters in selected cities throughout the world. The Met's return was announced by Auditorio Nacional, or the National Auditorium in Mexico City, where the screenings are scheduled to return. Auditorio Nacional also handles the licensing for Met broadcasts in other cities throughout Mexico. And although it hasn't been confirmed, we are keeping our fingers crossed such that the broadcasts will return to Guadalajara's Teatro Diana, as this has been one of my favorite excuses to visit our capital city in the past. The Met's 2021-22 season features 10 different productions, and I'll leave you with the schedule for you to keep it in mind. The Met screenings are also available by subscription through an app, and it is also available in most smart television sets out there. Lastly, in our last news item that I have, and we file this under things that are not related to Puerto Vallarta, it is amusing that I should wake up with insomnia this morning. And after I woke up, oddly enough, I stumbled upon this article from Vox that has nothing to do with Vallarta, titled, "The Pandemic Has Created a Nation of Insomniacs." Well, I think this creation goes beyond the United States, which is where Vox content is produced. If you suffer from insomnia like I do, maybe you would enjoy reading about this, and maybe it'll help you fall asleep. And that is the content that we have set aside for you today. Let us take a quick look at your comments, as always, to see who is in the house and what you're up to. And incidentally, going back to our frequently asked questions, if you haven't noticed, usually this is the very first comment that appears whenever we put together the broadcast, and there is the URL for our frequently asked questions at the very bottom of that comment. Let's see what we have. Dave says, "Buen dia from El Cerro with cloudy skies." It is cloudy out there. I just hope it doesn't rain, because today is the day in which I'm scheduled to go out and photograph Colonia Diaz Ordaz, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. If it starts raining, it'll be more tell than show, but hopefully we will be able to go out and take some photographs and video today. Let's see what we have. Doom, bada, doom, boom, boom. Overcast Amapa, says Angelo. Yeah, I looked out the window and it's really overcast over here. Tina asks, where can I get the best tamales? That's a very, very good question. Personally, my favorite place to get tamales is the convenience store around the corner. Just about every neighborhood, Mexican neighborhood in Mexico, really, and many of them here in Puerto Vallarta, has a small convenience shop, and these convenience shops usually have tamales that are made by God knows whom. So you never know who made the tamales. You just go to the convenience stores and eat them. There are also a couple of good tamale stands on Insurgentes in Colonia Emiliano Zapata, and they are usually served in the afternoon or evening. And I hope that gives you a good direction, Tina, as to where you can go. There is a tamal stand on Insurgentes right in the same corner where the chicken restaurant is. I forget the exact address. But tamales are not the kind of thing that you would necessarily find in many restaurants. I believe the Senaduría that is right across the street from the Church of Guadalupe, El Campanario, I think it's called. I think they serve tamales as well there, and they should be very, very good. Pretended to clean. That doesn't have a cue, but it's worth mentioning. I think everybody pretends to clean. Let's see what else we go. This doesn't have a cue either, but thank you very much, Ronald. The whole general intention of going out for walks or talking about restaurants is to create connections, or businesses. We want to create good connections between everyone and what's available here in Puerto Vallarta to enjoy. Logan has a good question. Since El Arrayán is no longer in operation, where can one find the best chiles en nogada today? What a great question. I certainly hope that Carmen and Claudia from El Arrayán are here, and maybe they're going to tell us about some chiles en nogada special dinners they may be offering, or maybe Michael before, who I think I saw a comment from Michael a second ago. Maybe you have specific recommendations. I believe No Way Jose has them, but I'm not entirely sure. We know these are seasonal dishes available during the month of September. So I look forward to some answers as well. Do 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 do. Um, can you wish Jill and Mark a happy anniversary? They watch every evening from Canada and they turn me on to your wonderful show very, very, very gladly. Happy anniversary, Jill and Mark. Hold on, where's there you go. There you go. Happy anniversary, and thank you so much for watching from afar. I hope that the broadcast gets you closer to us. Let's see what else we have. Hi, Raymond. All those years I was buying long lived paper towels and I didn't know it. Seriously. Haha. Too fun. And Gigi's going to the bathroom. I hope you have long lived paper towels at your disposal. Viva Paco Ojeda, don't be silly. Seriously. I am not sure if you have covered this, but why aren't negative COVID tests required to enter Mexico? Almost all countries require this, and with COVID again becoming a major problem in the USA, I find this irresponsible. Well, Brad, I actually don't have an answer for you. That question would be better directed to Mexican health officials or the president of Mexico. And I'm sorry you find it irresponsible. That's just the way it is. You can always choose to not come to Mexico if you find it irresponsible. Or you can choose to accept that different countries have different parameters that they choose to govern their people with. Let's see what else. Bum, ba-dim, bum, 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 boom, ba-dum, bum, bum, di-da-dun, din, dun, dun, dun. Sweet molletes are also good. Molletes are delicious with good butter and a little bit of sugar on top. Absolutely. Let's see what else. Oh, Jesse, my favorite future ex. I have missed you. I have missed you back. Thank you very much for that. You made my day. Didn't we? This doesn't have a cue, but I can answer this because I was involved in it. Yes, I was part of a group of concerned citizens that managed to persuade Teatro Vallarta to bring the Met broadcast to Puerto Vallarta for 2 seasons or 2.5 seasons. Then they got stupid and they decided to cancel them because they really didn't have the know-how to promote them. That is unfortunate because they would have been great. Then we tried to lobby with the local Cinépolis so that they could bring the broadcast to Cinépolis VIP because they do license the broadcast for several movie theaters around the country, and we failed miserably. So presently, the only place near Puerto Vallarta where you can go and enjoy the Met broadcasts and a great excuse to go shopping is in Guadalajara, our capital city. Being that Colonia Versalles is growing and changing so rapidly, what is the general feeling of the people who have lived here for generations toward all the new 5 to 8 story condominiums being built? Paul, you'd have to ask that of these people themselves. We cannot speak for people that have lived here for a long time, but I can guarantee that the population in general, well, no, I cannot guarantee that, but I would think that the population in general does not feel very kindly about disorderly development in general. So how would you feel? I would feel the same way. Let's see what else we have. Dun, 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 dun. Michal vouches for our convenience store. She's my nearby neighbor, and she likes those tamales as well. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Can't wait to try Claudia and Carmen's new place. Hope to plan a 50th there with them. I am also wanting to plan something there. I'm just waiting for all my friends to come back from out of town, and it'll be nice to do so. Pam, it's great to see you. So nice that you have a chance to watch today, working from home. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's see what else. Oh, we've reached the end of the broadcast. Fantastic. So, this was our Mexican Independence Day broadcast. I hope you learned something new. I hope you were amused. I hope you were inspired. And otherwise, I hope this was time that was worth spent here at the broadcast. Tomorrow is Friday, and as we mentioned before, we are going to discuss the pros and cons of Colonia Diaz Ordaz, which is not far from here. It is right next to Versalles, and it is a small but very, very, very successful colonia. Tomorrow, we get to tell you why. And if we don't see you tomorrow, then we will see you sometime in the near future. Between now and then, I hope you'll stay kind. I hope you'll stay loved and loving and safe and common sensed and all that good stuff. Have a great Thursday, and I'll see you again soon.